the very first episode of Growing Up Geeks, episode 001. Hey, Tim. How's it going, man?
Good, Joel. How are you doing?
Good. Are you ready for the very first episode?
Let's get this going. We have a lot to talk about.
Absolutely. We are your hosts, Joel Fulkerson and Tim Bark. Tim and I have been best friends since the first grade, and for at least 20 years, we have been complete and utter nerds. Right, Tim?
Complete nerds. Geek out about everything to geek out about.
Excellent. This Growing Up Geeks podcast is about two lifelong friends talking about things in geek culture and about raising the next generation of geeks, pretty much. And we can't wait to see all the geeky cool stuff that you guys post online and all this other crazy stuff that everybody's into. So because you, everybody who's listening, are really the experts here, and we get to geek alongside you guys with some really sweet stuff. So we have some fun. We have a really fun episode coming up here, Tim. And are you excited about it? Because I know I am.
I'm completely excited. Who can't get excited about catching little monsters and little red spherical items?
Yeah, that gives you a little hint of what we're talking about today. We decided to devote an entire podcast to our first podcast to Pokemon. It's the 20th anniversary this year, and there's a lot of stuff going on right now with it. And we know everybody listening has grown up with it on some level. Either they grew up with it as little kids, or their little brothers into it, or they got into it a little bit later. It doesn't matter. Everybody is into Pokemon. So, but first of all, I got to talk up this guy here. You guys get a treat to listen to one of the coolest guys I know, and that's my buddy Tim here. He is a geek through and through and loves his family deeply. And at some point, Tim, you have to show off your autograph collection in your house. What do you think?
Yeah, I could definitely do that. It's been a little bit of a hobby for myself, just collecting on a constant basis, and I would love to post some pics of all my crazy autographs that I have.
Yeah, you have one autograph from none other than Muhammad Ali. That was amazing. I think you posted that not too long ago, and it was very, very cool. And you also make some amazing pixel art. And I was at your house a couple months ago, and I live in the Chicagoland area. Tim lives in the Indianapolis area, and he's the one who kind of showed me the great grand world of pixel art, where they take the beads, and he had this little Charmander that he made. I was like, what? This is amazing. So I also have sitting in my office some of the old 80s trading cards that, Tim, you've collected. So they're still in their wrapping since I'm afraid to open them. So Tim.
Yes, they will lose all of their luster if you do open them, Joel. So
they'll probably, you know what, they'll probably turn to dust. They're these old Ninja Turtles, literally from the 80s. I'm afraid to open it. In fact,
pretty much. If you do try to open them, it will turn you into dust, much like the Ark did in Raiders of the Lost Ark to all the German Nazis.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So we have a really fun lineup for the show tonight. And Tim, it is time to start off our weekly geek segment. This segment is about, we talk about what we've been geeking out lately. And Tim, what have you been geeking out lately?
Well, I've been geeking out about a couple things this past week. This coming up here shortly, depending on when you're listening to this, I probably have already gone. But I'm actually going to be meeting up with an old friend of mine from Minnesota, and we're going to be going to the Shawshank Prison filming location, which is the Ohio... Yeah, the Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio. So I'm super excited about that. There's a lot of filming locations in Mansfield, and just an amazing place. I had the opportunity to see the outside, but couldn't take the tour, so I have a tour all lined up for this coming weekend. And I'll be talking about that later on. But yeah, one of my favorite movies. And the other thing I've been obsessing over is Gundam figures and little Gundam models.
Yes.
And actually So it's been pretty sweet. Been making those. In Japan, they call it Gunpla, and Gunpla. It's just a cool snap together models of little mech robots that you can display on your desk at work. And I actually have some photos up of those actual figures. The figure that I made is a little Wing Gundam, and it's up on our Instagram page, and you can check that out.
So cool. Yeah, man. Yeah, you have some cool stuff up there. I was telling Tim he likes to glue it Gundam style. See what I did there?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, yep, I did. Yeah. Joel, what have you been geeking out about this week?
Yeah, let's get as far away from that comment as possible. No.
Yeah. You don't glue Gundam figures together, Joel. You don't glue them. They snap together.
Well, and that's good because I remember getting the Super Dungeon Explorer board game like a little while ago. It was the original base set. It wasn't the new one that came out, if you're familiar with that board game at all. If the listeners are. Yeah, and you had to glue those all together. Now, I wasn't a Warhammer guy. Like, when I play board games, I'm more into the miniature stuff. And so I vicariously, live through Warhammer people on YouTube, I suppose. Anyway, I've been geeking about a little bit about that kind of stuff too lately. I've been looking at what you did, and I definitely have a really cool action figure. My office is created by the company Figma. They're probably another company name too, but that's what was on the box. And it was a Link figure I got for Christmas. Really super posable, and it was from the Skyward Sword. And I was looking online on Instagram. Can't remember offhand who it was, but they were posting these boxes of this Link Between Two Worlds. The one that, I think, if I'm saying that correctly, the one that came out on DS not too long ago.
Yeah.
Which I ended up playing, it was basically a remake almost of The Link to the Past, which was really well done, just how they did everything. But anyway, they had a actual figure of that Link, which was really cool. We'll have to give a shout out to whoever posted that on Instagram at some point. But so anyway, and I also have been watching some really cool, like 9-minute. It was a 9-minute video of the history of Pokemon. Once again, the name escapes me, but if you go on YouTube and type in 9-minute history of Pokemon, I was learning about all the different games that came out. I am personally like kind of a late bloomer with Pokemon in my life, which is a deep, dark confession, especially when the whole entire episode is about Pokemon. Just about all of the iterations of the game that came out and how huge the game has become and how it got started. It was very, very cool. Tim, being our resident expert in Pokemon, and I have a fun treat for you, Tim, a little bit later in the episode here. Give our listeners some lesser known insight on the history of Pokemon. So where did it start and all that kind of stuff. This starts our flashback segment here.
Yeah, let's go in the Wayback Machine to 1996, and a little bit earlier. Our story of Pokemon actually starts with the creator Satoshi Tajiri, who actually enjoyed as a child collecting bugs. Just reading up on it, bug collecting's a very big thing over in Japan, and so our story starts there with a kid from. Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely a big thing. You can look it up. It's really fascinating. Actually, they fight bugs and stuff like that, and you can really see where Satoshi got his obsession for the game we're going to be talking about, Pokemon, and just that bug collecting culture and the fighting of bugs. Tokyo and in the Japan area is just big. And so anyway, Satoshi basically had this obsession as a kid living in Tokyo, and he basically grew up to also enjoy video games, and he started a little magazine called Game Freak that actually kind of did reviews of arcade games and stuff like that. Well, they kind of realized, him and his friend realized that video games aren't that great on the console, and we want to get into the video game market. So they jumped right in, and Game Freak the magazine changed over into Game Freak the video game company. And so in 1996, after a lot of development with Pokemon, Satoshi went to Nintendo a couple of times to actually get this game made. He's like, look at, I have this great idea for bugs, for these little monsters, pocket monsters that fight each other. And he actually got a lot of his idea from the TV show Ultraman, where in Ultraman, the main characters would actually throw out little capsules of monsters at each other and fight that way. So the original iteration was called Capsule Monsters, and Nintendo wasn't having it before. Basically, it took Mr. Mario himself, Shigeru Miyamoto, and Mr. Legend of Zelda to go in with Satoshi and actually pitch Pokemon game to Nintendo, and that kind of got its drive to start. And so we ended up in February 27th, 1996. The versions in Japan were red and green versions. Blue wouldn't come out until a couple of years later, until it was released here in the States with what we know as the red and blue version. It just blew up.
Yeah.
Everyone everywhere was catching Pokemon, and it's just insane. You know, it's just like, what a great idea, especially for that culture. And they were actually scared to release the game over here in the States because they thought the characters are going to be too cutesy for the American culture, and so actually released the game over here on September 1998. It came over here, and we got Pokemon Red and Blue, and it exploded here too. And in Japan, before it actually came over here, which leads us into our next kind of little segment, they also released an anime featuring over there what we would know as Ash Ketchum, and his mortal enemy Gary was actually over in Japan.
Yes, Gary.
Over in Japan, the main characters were actually Ash was named after Satoshi, and Gary was named after Miyamoto. So you had this.
Oh my gosh,
fun. Yeah. So you actually had this. It's just crazy to think that, you know, like you have this, you have the main creators of the game or who pushed for creating the game, and now you have, you know, and then they change it to Ash Ketchum and Gary. So, you know, that's what we got. We have a little special treat. We actually, if you want to follow along with us, you can pause the podcast right now and go watch the first episode of Pokemon Indigo League, which was released here in early 1998. We got it a little bit early before the actual games were released. And if you want to, pause right now, and that's what Joel and I are going to talk about, our first impressions of the first episode. I think it was I Choose Pokemon. It was the first episode. So
I Choose Pokemon. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll talk about that. Come on back and see if our views line up with yours.
Yeah, man. Oh my gosh. That episode was pretty funny. You know what? In a few minutes after we're done talking about it, I have a trivia time that I would like to test your understanding of what you know about the first episode. So we will after our done chatting. So how did you feel after watching that episode, Tim?
I felt super nostalgic. I felt like they nailed, like, if they wanted to represent a video game, like, they perfectly represented it with a lot of comedic value, even though, you know, Red was in, you know, the first generation game and everything. They just nailed it, and I was like, you know what, this is super fun. I thought it was cheesy. I mean, that cheesy kid factor, but at the same time, you had this, it just tickled my funny bone basically throughout. What was your initial reaction, Joel?
Well, I remember I had seen it before. It was a long time ago. I hardly remember a lot of it. It was really fun to see Ash and him getting Pikachu for the first time, because Pikachu is not a happy camper when he wasn't just a little cuddly ball of yellow fluff as he is in all the other episodes, But you do find some things out for the first time, like you find out that Pikachu doesn't like being in his Pokeball, and that kind of the exact age that they all the Pokemon trainers start at and everything. But they don't really paint in the world that there's as many Pokemon trainers sometimes as the video games do. In the video games, it seems like there's like a trainer like literally just kind of wandering around in the bushes, like, hey, look, there's a trainer. And then as soon as they see you, they run up to you and then they want to battle. But
right.
Yeah, the anime kind of like feels a little more open and a little more isolated, kind of to just a few characters. So it's kind of cool. But no, I mean, it was, typical anime Pokemon, definitely for a certain age group. But no, I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoy, as an artist myself, I really enjoy like the very end when all the Spearows come like chasing after Ash, and Pikachu runs up and tries to shoots them all with, like, I don't remember, the electro ball or something. I can't remember what that move is ended up being called, but not lightning bolt. I can't remember what it is, but it's big, massive, like electric ball move.
Right.
Yeah, and basically you don't really know what happens to the Spearows. They get like incinerated or something. I don't know. But
I'm pretty sure they do. I'm pretty sure that when Ash is having his little monologue where he is yelling at the Spearows, that was probably one of my favorite scenes, other than the opening scene. Is,
take me, Spearows! I'm going to defeat you all! I'm like, no,
he's like,
no,
I'm going to
take
capture and defeat you all and basically destroy you. I'm going to be the Pokemon master. And he has for a 10-year-old, he has a very high self-esteem, which is really good. I could not believe it was so cool. And then, of course, Pikachu, saving the day right at the beginning and kind of starting to solidify their bond, and their relationship was really cool after destroying a flock of Spearow.
So, Tim, I do have, not sure why I started with a negative. I have a generally high tolerance for cheesy stuff. Now, some people don't. Some people are like, no, that just smells like it's cheesy. And when people say cheesy, they mean inauthentic. That's kind of what I assume people think. They want something very real and a little bit more have heart to it or whatever. But whatever. I really enjoyed, like I was getting at earlier, was the kind of the cinematic black and white still shot thing that they had. It was very dramatic, and I loved that style. I didn't always like anime style. As an artist, I was very loyal to like what we would call like Western style animation, but technically, it's probably all made overseas anyway. I didn't know that as like a 9-year-old. No, I love this animation style. I love watching, personally like watching Pokemon anime because of the art, really. And just like the movement and the excitement that they bring, it's kind of funny, and they're like, do the Power Ranger moves whenever, if you know what I'm talking about. They kind of whip around, they just sort of take out their Pokeball and just sort of do this like cool, like, super foreshortened move. But I don't know. I like that kind of stuff. It's fun. I get a lot of inspiration from it when I draw characters myself and watch it with my kids and stuff. So anyway, that's kind of my take on it. Kind of the art and the cheesy factor and that people may be turned off. So.
Yeah. And can I just mention the opening scene where they had it, with Nidorino and Gengar, and they have it set up, with the music from the game. I just thought that was cool. Like, I was like, the game hadn't even come out when the first episode of the anime was, but they were just like prepping kids for what they were going to be playing, and I thought that was really cool. And
yes, that was
cool
the very
feature.
First. Right. The very first scene, I was like, what? I think that Is that right out of the video game? I mean, didn't they just pull it right out of the video game?
It was. Okay. I mean, the music definitely was, but the animation was, higher quality. Yeah. It wasn't pixelated or anything, but it was still cool. Like, they were already throwing it back to the game, even though, because in Japan, of course, the anime came after the games. So I'm sure a lot of those kids are like, oh yeah, this is awesome, and then they have the big Goku-like character, like throwing throwing like
Right.
the Gengar. Who was that? Who was that dude that was like completely ripped in the shadow? You know, the silhouetted figure that I don't know, just reminded me of like Goku. Form when he's like all beast mode and everything. I just thought that was hilarious. I'm like, Goku? Is he in this?
Now, what I'd love to see is if you had paused it and watched it and came back, or if you watched it later, I would love to see you, our listeners, like hear you guys actually like pause, like what's your favorite scene, and like post it on our Instagram page, like hashtag Growing Up Geeks. That would be hilarious. Anyway, so we are rapidly coming to a close on this segment. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on about the show? Because I have something for you, Tim.
Okay, yeah, please. What is that? I just want to say that, you know what, I've watched like 5 episodes of this, and yeah, let's I love it. So it's right up my alley for the cheesy, and for, how can Ash not crawl into your heart and live there? He's a great character.
Go back and watch, Tim. Go back and watch. Start watching Pokemon X and Y. If you haven't, I think with your girls, I think they would love it, because there's, I watch it with I have a 5-year-old girl and a 8-year-old boy and a 2-year-old girl. So the 5-year-old, like, they have these, Ash meets up with, every time they do a new iteration of the show, he meets up with somebody and goes on an adventure with them. Well, this time he meets up with a boy and his little sister, and the little sister is like super overly cute in some ways, which kind of makes me kind of go, oh, okay, I reach my threshold a little bit, but the kids love it. Like, it's really funny show.
Yeah,
so
I'll definitely do that once they get a little older. I tried to have them watch Pokemon, and my daughter was not having it. She's only 3, so she's like, no, I have my other shows, Daddy. I got rolled out, so I just have to watch it in the background as I'm at work.
Yeah, totally. All right. Now, I have created some trivia questions for you, Tim, and our listeners. Some of them span the gamut of Pokemon. So we have a couple general questions and goes into a few other questions for you. Now, I have made a friendly wager with Tim that if you get them right, at least two out of the 3 in each segment right, you can maybe miss one. If you get
there's
them right,
3 questions. There's only 3 questions.
No, well, I have 3 segments and
3 segments. Okay,
right,
gotcha.
And each one has 3 questions, and each one of them are multiple choice. And so I will read the multiple choice answers, and then you can answer the question. So if you win, if you get them all, for sure, or maybe get a couple wrong, then I will send you something, and you have to, or buy you something, or make you something special.
All right,
something weird, Pokemon related, and you can post it on Instagram as your victory dance sort of thing. And if I win, now if you like totally bail and get all these wrong, and you're just like you shows us what a worse Pokemon viewer you are. No, I'm just kidding. You're not. If that happens, then you have to get me something. You have to make me a pixel art Charmander, and I'll post that on Instagram. All right? All right, here we go.
You got it.
I'll think of some great music or something for this. But, all right. Tim's Trivia. This is our segments. Here's a couple easy questions for you, and they're multiple choice, like I said. So here we go. Question number 1. What does Pokemon mean? A, pocket monsters. B, poke a monster. C, swimming in mounds of cash like Scrooge McDuck.
I will take A.
Oh, that is correct. A, pocket monsters. Congratulations, Tim. All right. Question number 2. Who is the original creator of Pokemon? Tamayuki Tanaka. A. B, Satoshi Tajiri. Or C, Toru Iwatani.
Well, since I just talked about him, B, Satoshi Tajiri.
Excellent. You remember what you said extremely well. I'm very proud of you, Tim. So
thank you.
Now, do you know who the first one is? Tamayuki Tanaka. Offhand, I'll give you 2 seconds to think about it. He's the creator of Godzilla.
Oh, okay, cool. Toho.
And
all right.
You should know, this should be a household name, Toru Iwatani, or if I'm saying that correctly. That's the Pac-Man creator. He created Pac-Man.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Okay, unless Google search failed me. All right, question number 3. When did Pokemon release in the US? Is it A, April 1997, B, September 1998, or C, June 1996?
B. June.
B. That is correct.
Sorry, September. Sorry.
September. I'm pretty sure I got 1988 correct. Do you know what came out in April 1997, though?
April
we talked about this.
1997.
I don't know the exact date.
You'll have to remind me.
All right, Star Fox 64, Tim, came out in April.
Oh.
Everybody was playing that at Christmas time. In June 1996, everybody was just finishing up Mario 64. So
and I was getting my driver's license. So yeah.
Okay, so some of you don't know this yet. We haven't discussed it, but Tim has been playing Pokemon Ruby. Is that right?
I have been, yes.
All right. Yep. So the original Game Boy Advance version, right? Not the Omega Ruby. Is that correct?
Right, that's correct.
All right. Now these are 3 questions to test your recent knowledge of Pokemon Ruby. So these are not super hard, but if they are, that proves to me that you're lying through. No, I'm kidding. Just totally kidding. All right. Question number 1. What is the name of the Pokemon professor in Pokemon Ruby? Is it A, Professor Willow, B, Professor Birch, C, Professor Oak, I'm sensing a theme here, or D, Professor Snape?
It would be Professor Birch.
Oh,
B.
Nice. Right answer.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 2. What are the starter Pokemon in Pokemon Ruby? Is it A, Torchic, Trico, and Oshawott, B, Pikachu, Mudkip, and Litten, C, Trico, Torchic, and Mudkip, or D, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo?
I'm going to go with C. I picked Mudkip for my starter. Got
Excellent.
that water Pokemon.
Hey, very nice.
Yeah.
C it is.
Yeah.
Trico, Torchic, and Mudkip. Excellent. All right, last question in this one. What is the evolution stages, not including Mega Evolutions, because we're talking about the original game here, not the Omega Ruby. What is the evolution stages of Mudkip? Is it A, Mudkip, Marill, and Totodile, B, Mudkip, Marshtomp, and Swampert, C, Mudkip, Marshtomp, and Samurott, or D, Murray, Moranis, and Ramus?
Can I just say that last one is classic, and man, I don't know. I'm gonna go with B.
B, excellent. Mudkip, Marshtomp, and Swampert. Excellent. Yes. All right. Now, this is about the TV show. These are 3 questions relating to the TV show. So, the first one's about the theme song. So, finish this sentence. I want to be the very best like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test. To train them is my A, flaws, B, cause, C, ethical responsibility, or D, only way to sell video games?
B.
B, good job. Cause. To train them is my cause. Good luck.
Yep.
Now everybody has the theme song in their head, which is okay because I actually really liked it. So, all right. Question number 2. How old does Ash Ketchum have to be to get his first Pokemon? A, 9 years old, B, 10 years old, C, 11 years old, or D, it doesn't matter, he never ages?
He might never age. Well, no, he gets older, but he has to be 10, the wonderful 10-year-old Ash Ketchum.
That is correct.
Leaves
Excellent.
his mother.
You are... And they all leave their mother. And she's totally fine with it. She comes with a big banner and the whole family and gets carted off. So anyway,
yeah, empty nest. Yeah,
which I kind of think the people who wrote Divergent or the people who wrote the Hunger Games all kind of grew up with Pokemon and they just decided to make it weird. So, all right,
right,
last
exactly.
question in this round. What is the name of the legendary Pokemon that Ash saw at the top of the first episode? It was on the top of the screen.
Yes.
A. Ono. B. Ho-Oh, excuse me. C. So-So, or D. Dodo. I can read them again if you need help.
Yes, please.
All right. A. Ono. B. Ho-Oh. C. So-So, or D. Dodo.
B.
B. Ho-Oh is correct. Congratulations, Tim. All right. Let's see. I have a couple bonus questions, but I'm not going to get to those. All right. Now, here's the lightning round, Tim. In 30 seconds, name any 10 basic Pokemon.
Wait,
no
what?
Evolutions.
Name
any
what?
10 basic Pokemon in 30 seconds. That doesn't include evolutions.
Okay.
Right. Now, I'm going to count in my head because I don't have a timer on me. So in 30 seconds, you can get going. You ready?
Yes.
10 basic Pokemon. It could be from any era. All right. And go.
Pichu. Charmeleon. Oh, wait. No. Pichu. Man, this is hard putting me on the spot. Charmander. Bulbasaur. Squirtle. Gengar. Ghastly.
And your 30 seconds is up. I'm pretty sure that's not 10.
No,
I was counting in my
not.
head and counting. All right. So you didn't make the lightning round, but that was pretty good. I have to say that was pretty amazing. This comes to one of our last, unless there's something I'm missing, one of our last segments, and we made something that we thought you would enjoy. And since this is a Growing Up Geeks podcast, and a lot of us span the age range, it could be some of you were born in the 60s or 70s, some of you have born in the 2000s, whoever is watching this show. We were born in the 80s, and so we got our heads together. We were trying to think of the top 5, like if we could go back in time. Maybe I need to do a comic about this or something. The top 5 ways to play Pokemon Go in the 80s. Like, obviously there were no cell phones, there was no smartphones. Maybe Zach Morris phones, depending on maybe what version of the 80s. But what would you actually have to use to catch Pokemon? All right, Tim, we're going to do this. This is how we're going to do this. We're going to go back and forth. This is our top 5. We're going to start at number 5 and work our way up to number 1. Okay?
All right.
It's going to be in any order you want, Tim.
Let's do this.
So, all right, number 5. My top 5 way to play Pokemon Go in the 80s, since there's no other technology, because using maps and trucker radios. So what's your number 5?
Yeah, I also had the maps there. I just imagine kids crashing on their bikes because they have their map and compass in front of their face, trying to navigate the world around them without GPS.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, I can imagine that. All right. Number 4. Creating a loving, mystical bond with your hamster by making it fight other hamsters. Because obviously there's no Pokemon to fight. You got to find something to fight with. Hamsters are cute and cuddly. Make the connection.
Definitely that Pikachu connection. You would never want to fight. And your hamster probably wouldn't want to fight other hamsters. They probably just, I don't know, would do whatever hamsters do. But yeah, my number 4... is Nintendo would have to figure out a way to get information to all the kids, so they would end up using their Nintendo powers and have basically Nintendo minions go out and try to populate the world with just random objects. It wouldn't even be, because Pokemon wasn't even thought of, so they would probably just put like dead bugs on boards or whatever, and then just give the location in the Nintendo Power magazine. So every month the kids would be chomping at the bit to try to figure out where the next bug on a board would be.
Excellent. So bug collecting, biology class, pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. Number 3. We're on number 3, correct?
Yes.
All right. Number 3. taking your captured raccoons to a pet store and asking to trade.
So good.
Anyway, obviously you got to capture something. Wild Pokemon would be animals, raccoons, not gyms. Pokemon centers would be veterinarian clinics. There you go. All right.
Yeah,
Tim, what was your number 3?
Sure. Well, you would need Pokemon stops for Nintendo to drop those bugs at your hopefully close to where you live, and so you would populate your park with random refrigerator boxes and turn them into a makeshift Pokestops, hoping that Nintendo would stop with their bugs on the board for you. So you would have stuff close by.
Nice. Excellent. Good work. All right. Number 2. Now, I was thinking more aquatic here. I would take a top hat, like a magical top hat filled with water and put carp in it, and then go to my public pool and release them in my public pool. So
Yes.
It's the only way I can think of getting Magikarp in a public pool setting with other kids my age. So releasing magic carp in my public pool. So
Fair
that'd be
enough.
one way to play.
Yes.
All right. What about you, Tim?
And you would, of course, have to have gym battles, or you would just have to have gym. So basically, recess / gym class in school would turn into all-out battles of kids just going up to each other with their bugs on a board and throwing them at each other and being like, "Oh man, my cricket's gonna totally destroy your beetle," and they would realize.
Dude.
They would basically
That's
just
awesome.
get cardboard paper cuts and walk away with paper cuts all over their body from the bugs.
I'm gonna take my monster out of my pocket and poke the monster with it. No, okay. All right. And number 1, top way that we would play Pokemon Go in the 80s. Number 1, this would be about capturing Pokemon and using the extra long telephone cord in your house as a lasso to catch squirrels.
Nice.
All right.
Yes.
What was you? Yeah, there you go. So, there's got to be a way to do that. Okay, how about you, Tim?
My number 1 way to play Pokemon Go in the 1980s would be you would have to get, most of these Pokestops that are makeshift, most likely Nintendo's not going to have the time to drop all the bugs on the board right next to the park where you live. So you would have to get your brother Chet, who just turned 16 and got his driver's license, to drive you
Brother
around.
Chet.
Yeah, Chet. Yeah, that's a good 80s name. Like, that's an 80s name, right? To drive
It
you
is,
around to all the Pokestops and,
In his
as your
hatchback. Excellent.
little gremlin. For sure.
Awesome. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
And if people could post their top 5 ways that kids would have to play Pokemon Go in the 80s or whatever time frame, just post it to our Instagram account with the list that you came up with. Take a photo of it, and again, that's
they can also go on our Facebook page and post something there as well. But
yeah.
All right. So this is I would say, ode to a Pokemon Go player. So, or a lament to the of a Pokemon Go player. So here we go. No Pokemon Red and no Pokemon Blue. Pokemon Go was amazing and new. Its life was too short but amazing to play. Kids and teenagers played outside every day. The first week was a blast and many Pokemon were caught. Pokestops were spun and rares were all sought. We all had a blast riding around in the breeze, dodging old ladies and avoiding the trees. It was loads of fun walking around town, hatching Pokemon, spinning stops, and clowning around. But the rainy cloud of fad was inevitable and quick. Catching Rattatas made everyone sick. Pidgeys escaped and ruined each ball. Lures brought them to us, but the app always stalled. Player versus player was nowhere in sight. Power up with Stardust, not with gym battle fights. Timmy the tween had more cash in the summer. We worked all day, which was kind of a bummer. As school has begun, crowds grow dangerously thin. which is fine since gyms are hard to keep Pokemon in. Soon Pokemon Go will be hard to remember when Sun and Moon comes out in November.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
All right.
That right there, people, is classic limerick writing right there. Wonderful job, Joel. Wonderful.
All right. Thanks. Yes. All right, man. That is one of our last segments. The last thing we want to talk about really quickly is, and we talked a little bit about this already right before we close here, and we start flashing all the, hashtags at people, is Tim, you talked about this a little bit, but what's one of the ways or a few ways that you've actually enjoyed using Pokemon with your family?
One thing that I've found, not just with like Pokemon Go, I mean, I already kind of talked about that with my oldest daughter really enjoying, opening up the eggs to see what Pokemon's there. She caught her first Pokemon in Pokemon Go the other day. But yeah, it's just more or less going to the park and opening the stuff up. But with the Pokemon Ruby, the games are really simple, especially for the Game Boy Advance versions. And so she's been kind of my oldest daughter has been learning how to use the D-pad and stuff like that, and she's really been interested in using that and moving the character. And it's kind of funny because she wants to touch the screen because that's what she's grown up as, touch screen. So but just kind of bringing her back to the roots. And just kind of sitting on the couch and just watching her learn how to do that has been really cool, and just interacting with her that way. And of course all the And they just love, even my 2-year-old just loves to look at the different Pokemon and think they're really neat, because they're really cute, and the artistry for all the Pokemon is just really well done. So they're great little, characters for them to look at. So that's really how we've been kind of interacting, especially at that young age. I know you, Joel, you have a couple older kids, and you probably want to speak to, kind of what you've been doing with your oldest son and stuff like that. And
so with my kids, we're a busy family, just like everyone else is. And we got a lot going on, and anytime I can have just to sit down with them and just enjoy something they enjoy as well is a win for me. Just getting in the room and just hanging out together. A lot of it's like getting up, at least the time of life I'm in now is get up, get them to school, come home from work, get them to bed, wake up, get them to school, go home, come home, get them to bed. And it can get a little bit like a rat race. And sometimes we have the weekends. And so to use something like Pokemon X and Y is on Netflix right now. It's fun. We don't watch it all the time, but we watch it sometimes. And especially like Ezra's really into, my son is really into Pokemon and as well, at least the toys and stuff. And it was pretty fun for his 8th birthday party. He had a Pokemon cake and a Pokemon party. It was just kind of fun because I enjoyed it too. Like we were both at Party City, and he was getting some stuff for his party and for his cake and all that stuff. And it was just really fun to kind of talk through some of those things. And overhearing him with one of his friends talking about Pokemon, friend of his who was much older than him was telling him, so what's the evolution of such and such? And Ezra's like, and he just kind of rattled them off. And so it's something we can share together. And so that's something that I think is kind of fun. And
sure. That's awesome.
Yeah, so tell us how you guys, the listeners, interact with your families, with your friends. Do you guys get together and talk about it? Tell us how you do it. Hashtag Growing Up Geeks, all one word, on Instagram. One of the things I'm really excited about doing is posting up some comics as well that I've done specifically about this podcast. I'll hopefully be getting that done in the near future, crossing my fingers. But I have done a couple comics already. I've started called RPG Night. Tim and I are in an RPG group. I am the Game Master. Thank you very much. Because we're playing Pathfinder, so it's Game Master. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we, like I said, can't wait to get to know you guys. And this is Tim and Joel for Growing Up Geeks.
We'll talk to you later. Bye.